MDs, it's that time again to go through a bunch of different data for the month of February. But prior to going into it, I'm going to share with you one thing I want all of us to focus on. One primary thing that I used to not do, paid very little attention to. By the way, 80% of MDs don't even look at this data here. And this one small behavior I'm going to share with you, that's what tripled my base shop the moment I started focusing on that thing. But prior to getting into that, why don't we go into some numbers? So first of all, our goal was obviously to hit 4,000 recruits. And many of you have been texting me saying, Pat, did we hit it last night, today, this morning? We did not hit 4,000 recruits. We ended up with 2,999 recruits. One short of 3,000. We fell one short of 3,000. I could have easily told you we hit 3,000. We did not hit 3,000. We hit 2,999. And we did 715 recruits on the last day. And biggest recruiting month ever, biggest recruiting day ever, record on how many people did 10 plus base recruits, 25 base recruits, 50 base recruits ever in the history of the company. And I'm going to recognize that on the update video, but I want to recognize those of you that led the way in getting direct as MDs, because I'm not going to do that in the update video. I want to recognize who went wide in the month of February.
Here's a list. Look at the bottom. Krista Griffith, Soraya, Audrey Jackson, Traylor, Gaines, Natalia, Banegas, Quanine, Claudius Dennis, David Bryan Cooper, Lane Cooper, Kanisha Taylor, Angie, Ricardo, Mike Bryan, Solis did 3 direct. Donna, Pimber, Elvana, Colmenares, Arredondo did 4 directs. Great job. Andrin and Homero Galindo, Philp, Alexi Smith, Gerda, Castillo, Martinez, Almaraz, Elginet, Medina, Maldonado, Bloom, Russack, Tyrone, Zolia Munoz, Lujan, Vic and Anna Renault did 5 directs. Ricky and Erica, 6 directs. Eatman, 6 directs. Leila and Sebastian, 6. Paulette Sabatimani, 6. Edward Musgrove, 6. Lorna Tracy, Devante, 6 directs. Great job to those guys. Richardson and Del Valle, 7. Phenomenal. Chapman's 9. Kahindi, #1 in the entire company for SVPs and MDs. With
so now, we are reading Principles for a reason, because a part of the book Principles, which by the way, for those of you that have read the book, you have personally sent me messages telling me, Pat, this is the greatest business book I've ever read in my life. For those of you that have not read it, let me make a guarantee to you. The last 300 pages of that book, it's revolutionary how our thinking is on track. When you read that book, you're going to say, I am so glad we think the way we think, because this is exactly what's about to happen with PHP. So we didn't hit the number. What do? Do we just say, oh my gosh, it's okay, we'll hit it next month. Let's be positive. No, we got to debrief and figure out what areas are we going to get some information about that we can improve on. Let me tell you some numbers I pulled up here for us to take a look at. Here's the one.
What it tells us. Our goal was 4,000. We hit 2,999. We fell short by 1,001 recruits. What did we do week by week by week that can give us a lesson here? So first week, February, we only recruited 474. That's 16% of 2,999. 474 only. Following week, the second week of February, because it was only 4 weeks, 619. That's 20% of 2,999. Week 3, we did 547, 18%. And then last week, we did 1,359, which is 45%. By the way, 1,359 times 4, just so you know, puts it at roughly 5,318 recruits that we could do in a month. That is truly our capacity. Now, first half of the month, we did 1,093, that's 36%. Second half, we did 1,906. Is there a trend here? Well, I can't tell you how many times over the last 2 years on the Dream Team call, I have worked on a mindset for people to get, and here's what it is. If you look at this, this is a bad start. In a game of sports, you know, you'll hear coaches saying, our goal was to come out and take a big lead up front, because that demoralizes the opponent, right? So a lot of times, the reason why a player named Carmelo Anthony, which you've heard me talk about him before, gets all the hate he gets, is because he's always casual here. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get my act together. Let me play defense. Let me play offense. Let me work. Let me run. Let me hustle. And then boom, they still end up losing. Why? Because he didn't give everything he had the first 3 quarters. Even our best week doesn't even match to this if you 2x it. If you 2x this, it's not even close to this. You would 2x this, it's not, that's 1238. That doesn't beat this month. 2 of this week doesn't beat this week. Why? We waited too late. So let's see which hierarchies started. So this chart here kind of gives you an idea who took the lead, who dropped off, who fell off, who's at the bottom. And by the way, the only colors you'll see are SVP teams. So you'll see Visionaries, that's Kahindi, Diana Joe, We the People, Vargas's, Len and Tasha, Jason, Sapalas, Conquistadors, which is Del Toro's, George, and TGA. Now look at this. Here's every week which team has led the way. If you look at the left, that shows how many recruits you get each week, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. On the bottom, you'll see says 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, okay? So TGA is clearly making the argument that they are the dominant hierarchy in the company. Not a single week this week did anybody beat TGA. Not 1 week did anybody beat TGA. Unity was number 2 every single week, and this is what their chart looks like. So you notice up, up, settle, went down, and then went up. So Unity had 1 week that they went down from the 14th to the 21st. TGA every week kept going up. Then you have the third one, which is Conquistadors. Conquistadors starts kind of slow, comes up, and they win. Then you look at MSM, they come up, they drop down a little bit, and then they had the 4th best closeout of the month is what they did, okay? Then you have EIB, starts slow, comes up, they close out, and this is the one thing with EIB that we got to work on. EIB, you guys are a closeout team, but you guys are weak in these areas. Those 2 areas EIB needs to look at the big drop-off. It's the biggest drop-off of a team outside of Liberation, okay, is what they got. And then boom, they close out bigger than Liberation. And then you have We the People. They come up, they do the same exact recruit 3 weeks in a row, and then they have a spike on recruiting. Cornerstone, super slow start, massive drop-off, and then a closeout. And then Visionaries just was at the bottom with SVP recruiting. So let's look at numbers here, what it looks like. First week, TGA 112, second week 129, third week 137, fourth week 317 for a total of 696.5 recruits in a single month. That's a record in the entire company. So this number you see, 61.5, is the following. It's how many recruits did the last week, was it higher than the first 3 weeks combined? Their last week is 61.5 recruits fewer than the first 3 weeks combined. Palaio 88, 105, dropped off 99, 273, 565.5 recruits. Del Toro started off 67.5, then 78, then 85, then 204, 431.5. Only one team out recruited them outside of their upline in Palaio, and that is MSM, 65.5. The first week, they were not ranked above Del Toro's. Look at this. So Del Toro's were above them in the first week for a start by 2 recruits. Okay, MSM starts with only 65.5 recruits. MSM, that hurts when we're trying to do 4,000 recruits. Then it's 102, then it's 89, then it's 199 for a total of 456. By the way, their biggest recruiting month ever. Cooper, 64.5. That was number 5, okay? Then it goes 86.5, 62, and then 167.5. Is what they ended up the month with, 380.5, their record all time. Liberation would have been one of the bigger flag carriers because they did numbers bigger than anybody else's highest ratio ever. So great job, Liberation MDs. Vargas, 63, first week. 53, 56, 145, their record 317. Then you got Diana, 365, 36.5, first week. EIB. 50.5 EIB first week. That's a super slow start for EIB with as many MDs as they promoted. That's a slow start. He knows it. 82, 58.5. Jason, EIB, that's a very big drop off. Then 170.5 for a total of 363. And then you have Diana, Cornerstone, 36, 48, 30, just very slow. And then 133 last week. And the reason why I highlight this Cornerstone, you are the only team that did more recruits in your last week than the first 3 weeks combined. That's not a compliment. That just means you're treating this like Carmelo Anthony. You are waiting till last minute to show your push. Now, your push puts you at number 8 SVP team, but imagine if you guys were actually pushing every week instead of just waiting for this week, like panicking. We gotta get it together, we gotta get it together. No, let's start here. Visionary, same thing, 1737, again, drop off 26. Then 69 for 149. So if you look at the ranking on how these teams started week 1 and how they ended, right? Look at week 1, okay? Gaetan started number 1, They are number one, even, nothing changed. Unity started number 2, they are number 2. Del Toro started number 3, they dropped off and ended up being number 4 because they did 431, MSM did 456. So Palace, even though they were number 4, week 1, they ended up being number 3. So they moved past Del Toro's. Cooper started number 5, they stayed number 5, shows the signs of consistency. Vargas started number 6, they dropped off 1. Jason started number 7, slow start, came up, okay? Came up. By the way, this is not good. This just shows that you had a very bad week, first week. And then you have even Dana Joe number 8, which you ended up being also number 8. And then Kahindi number 8 is also.
So some of you may be asking, saying, Pat, why are we looking at these numbers here? Let me explain to you. For some of you MDs that are saying, Pat, I am not an SVP, so what do I get out of this? Here's the point. You got to break down your base shop recruiting numbers by week and see if there's a leak. See if most of your recruits came last week. Why? Why do you wait till last week? Can you imagine if Quiznos or McDonald's or a restaurant waited till the last week to sell all their sandwiches? They don't. Their businesses, Amazon doesn't sell everything on the last week. Every week, their goal is to drive sales on a weekly basis. Our goal is to drive recruits, licensed agents, new people getting checks, and new business on a weekly basis, not just last month. Now, of course, we have a closeout mentality. Absolutely, we have a closeout mentality. Absolutely, the game of basketball, fourth quarter is the one that's got the most pressure. In the game of football, in the game of hockey, third period, everything is about a certain closeout mentality. But do you really want to be the team that's going to have to make a big comeback after falling behind? You don't want to do that. So in the month of March, my challenge, go watch those numbers right there. Go watch your trends. Look, we just right now got a new place. And I know I've been on the road. Some of you guys are saying, Pat, oh my gosh, you're on the road. I've been on the road all over the place, okay? But we just got a new place. We moved into our new house yesterday. That's 6 moves in 8 years. Yes, 6 moves in 8 years. Woodland Hills was our first apartment at the Summit. Then it was Encino. Then it was the first house in Porter Ranch, Trammell Estate. Then it was the cul-de-sac house in Trammell Estate. Then our house here in Plano. Then we just got a house right now. Our next door neighbor is President Bush. Go figure. Anyways, you'll see the house. It's a 15,000 square foot house, 4 stories, elevator, you know, the whole nine. I mean, it's just an insane place for the kids. Ridiculous place. Some of you guys will be invited. You'll get a chance to see it. How did that happen to this guy? You know how it happened? I have been an absolute byproduct of a guy that got obsessed about improving. I never knew how to be a CEO. I didn't know how to sell. I learned how to sell. I didn't know how to lead a sales team. I learned how to lead a sales team. I didn't know how to lead couples. I learned how to lead couples. I didn't know how to lead women. I was only in the military. It's all men pretty much where we were stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. There were some ladies, but it was like hardcore. So I had to learn that. I had to learn how to attract Hispanic community, Caucasian. I had to learn all this. I had to learn. I had to learn. I had to learn. I had to learn to be patient, tolerant, understanding while driving competition, you know, steering competition, flag carrier. You have to learn all of these dynamics where you're not just completely on one side. Some of you guys are so much about love. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. And some of you guys are so much about competition that the person with love can't exist in your world. And you're so much about love that the person with competition cannot exist in your world, right? This is why in politics in America, we have a left wing and a right wing. That's why they say left and they say right. And the eagle flies the best when it's balanced, right? And it's just flying straight. So you got to know those things. I had to learn how to go from being a sales manager to being a business owner, from business owner to a CEO. You got to learn those things. We're doing these things so you can learn those things because you're doing it so you can get your dreams to become a reality. Yesterday, Maral was showing me, we sent out 4 rings that were in town. 9 rings went out in the last week. I was out of town. When I came, 4 were here. 4 went out. 9 rings. In the last week, some are upgrades on rings. Most of them were brand spanking new rings that went out. $100,000 rings, $250,000 rings, $500,000 rings, $750,000 rings, $1 million. These are rings just going out, making money. You need to be making a lot of money. And if you want to make a lot of money, have your dreams become a reality, these are things you got to pay attention to. It's not just about winging it. Okay, so here's the challenge. I told you the entire time I was going to give you that one thing, and here's what that one thing is. So many times I would get a lot of recruits, and then the following month recruit would drop. How did you recruit 58 and the next month you recruit 37? That's not how it's supposed to be, right? Can you imagine if your population goes from 50 people to 100 people, and then all of a sudden your population goes back down, and there's no killing, nothing that happens. People just stopped having sex. How's that even possible? That doesn't happen. Population in cities keep growing. Why? Because people keep having sex. And what is the point? This is not, I'm not trying to be funny with you with sex. They keep making babies. They keep making babies, okay? Some base shop builders, they stop making babies. Can you imagine what happens if you stop making babies? Your community doesn't grow. So Pat, what are you saying? Here's what I'm saying. Look at this here. This is by far the one thing I am most excited in the month of February on what happened. Look at
Jose Marlene Gaitan last month got 64.5 recruits in their base shop, okay? So now what's the big deal about that? Well, Del Toro's got 74 last month, okay? Alejandro got 66, but wait, Ricky and Erica got 81. So you may say, Pat, are you trying to say that the lowest recruiting base shop out of all of them is a minimum of 64, 4 deep? That's crazy. No. The reason why this leg, this hierarchy keeps passing everybody up is because they got another one. You see, Giovanna and Nicholas Castillo got 51 recruits last month. That's 5 legs of 50 recruits a month. No one's ever in the company done this. Well, I think Vargas and George and Cindy once did this, that they were about 50. I don't know about 60, but I think they did about 50. They've done 4 and they've done 5. So now watch what happens here. They keep building new MDs. TGA, Unity. Unity used to be way ahead. TGA now it's caught up and passed them up. 130 recruits, they're ahead of Unity. Now look at this, 696.5. If you were to combine Cornerstone and EIB together, they're beating them. If you combine Cornerstone, We the People together, they're beating them. If you combine We the People and Liberation together, they're beating them. If you were to combine MSM and Vargas together, they're beating them. What's the point? What are you trying to say, Pat? What's the one thing here? Let me explain to you what the one.
Here's what the one thing is, okay? So that leg right behind me, they don't wait for people to come to them. They go to them. And you know what most people want to do? Most MDs, SMDs, SVPs, chairman's councils, big shots. I don't go to people. They come to me is where they come to me. Yeah, these guys don't care. They'll go to them. And by the way, watch how quickly they'll do 1,000 recruits. Watch how quickly they'll do 2,000 recruits, and watch how quickly they'll do 5,000 recruits. And if they go at this pace, they will be the 50% team. If they continue at this pace. Now, if Gaitan stops recruiting in base shop, he's not going to get loved like this. If Gaitan doesn't run, the base shop and lead him, it's just kind of waiting for everybody else, that's not going to be the case. But if they lead, and they lead, and they lead, and they lead, and new MDs decide to follow their examples, this leg is going to produce more million-dollar earners than any other leg in the company. Because here's the one thing. Remember how I said they don't wait to go to the fast start? Here's my challenge to everybody this month. This is what it is. We have 2,999 recruits this month. We have roughly, out of the 2,999, 30% of people that get recruited make it out to Fast Start School, which means 1,000 people need to graduate from Fast Start School minimum this month, which means TGA needs to have a minimum of 210 Fast Start graduates this month. They need to have a minimum of 165 graduates this month. MSM needs to have a minimum of 135 graduates this month. Conquistadors, 130 graduates this month. You get the number here. These guys got to get 120 graduates. That's Liberation. These guys got to get 100 graduates, 110 graduates. 30% here is going to be 72. 30% here is going to be 52. So, okay, have I still told you the one thing? I still haven't told you the one thing, because here's the one thing. You, the MD, I'm calling every single person we recruited in February. I'm not matching it up to anybody. I'm calling them. By the way, it's not going to take that long of a time. I'm personally calling everybody, and I'm driving them through the filters. Here's what my call sounds like. Hi, John. This is Patrick giving you a call. How are you? Good, good. Which Patrick is this? Patrick from PHB Agency. I work with George Palau. Oh my gosh, Patrick. Hey, how you doing? Great. Hey, John, I just noticed you just recently got started with us here in the company. Yeah, I did. It's just a lot of things are going on with me. So tell me, John, why'd you do this business? Why are you doing this? Tell me a little about yourself. Well, I'm working with this and my wife and my kids and da-da-da-da. So I haven't seen you at the office the last couple of weeks. You got recruited on the 13th. Yeah, I just don't know if it's for me or not. And I'm glad you called me because, I was kind of wondering if I can get my $150 back. Well, John, you just told me that you wanted to do this for your wife. Yeah, I did. What do you do currently right now with your job? I do this. Is that job really going to allow you to do the things you want to do with your wife? No, it's not really going to allow me. So You're really giving up on your dreams with your wife and kids? No, it's not really like that. Well, if you're not doing this, what other vehicle is going to help you get there? I mean, you make a point. I just don't think I can do it. Look, John, let's just level with me. Do you doubt yourself whether you could do this or not? Yeah, I mean, I've never been in this business before. John, I get it. I was the same way as well. I don't have any background in financial industry, but let me tell you what I was concerned about. My father had health issues. I couldn't stand it. It bothered me. I was frustrated. I was in debt $49,000. My girl and I had to break up because I had no money to my name. And this was a rod for me. It completely changed my life, and it can do the same for you. But look, I can't do everything for you, but I'm gonna have your back. If you tell me you're gonna show up and you do your part, I promise you'll be very surprised with the results that you get for your family, if you do your part right. So look, what time do you get off work today? I get off work at this time. Where are you gonna be? What area are you gonna be at this? I can't make it to the office. We'll come to you. What area? And I'm gonna get a schedule and I'm gonna go to them. By the way, if I do that with my 50 recruits in my base shop and you ask your assistant to do that, or you wait tomorrow to do that, or the next day to do that, there's no way in the world you can compete with me. Hence, why we kept beating everybody, and why we keep growing, and why some of the guys that were 50 times bigger than me when I first got started, I only had 2 people coming to meetings. These guys had 500 people coming to meetings. That's 2 people, 250 times bigger, literally one guy, 250 times. And now we're so much bigger than that guy. What happened? Because you become too big, too cool for school, and no one, you don't drive to nobody. Everybody comes to you. My assistants do everything. That's the difference. I'm gonna call you, and we're gonna have a conversation together. See, I called so many different people for you guys the other day when you sent me the list. It took me 2 days to call everybody, because the list ended up being 65 different names. And I called everybody. Some numbers were missing, messages, all this other stuff. I would prepare my guys if I'm gonna be calling and just say, you may get a surprise call today. Keep your phone available if I ever do that in the future again. The point is, get on the phone and call everybody. Don't be a big shot. Call everybody. We can easily turn this 2,999 recruits into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 recruits in a month. You know what that means to your bank account? A lot of money. And by the way, for some of you that are super worried about Great Equalizer and all this other stuff, hint if you stuck around this long for this video. You're going to love me tremendously, and I want to be surprised with so many nice gifts at the home office when you realize what I'll be doing in the next few days. I can't give you all the details, and it's not what you think it is, but just stay tuned. You know I have to do this to you because I want to make sure that you go back to the drawing board and you experience a leg like this. By the way, Unity, you guys want to compete with TGA? Or you guys are kind of like giving up on competing with TGA now? It's just we're beating everybody else, but we can't beat one leg. EIB, do you still want to compete? Or is EIB kind of like too cool to want to compete with all these other guys? MSM, do you guys want to compete with TGA? Hey, Conquistadors, do you want to pass Unity up to kind of say validation? We passed everybody up. Does Visionaries want to be all the way at the below of SVPs of the 9, Kahindi? Do you really want to be there? Diana, Cornerstone, the rest of you, do you really want to be associated as the 8th out of 9 hierarchy? Liberation, do you kind of want to flex your muscles and say, listen, man, where's us competing with TGA? We want to kind of kick their asses well. I want to see it. I want to see it from everybody. I want to see We Do People shock everybody. I want to see all of you showing your fight if you focus on what I just talked to you about today. Now, this is not the update video, because the update video, I'm really going to get into the numbers, March Madness, all this other stuff. I'm making 4 crazy announcements on the update video, which, yes, believe me, you're going to flip out. Believe me, you're going to flip out. You see what I mean? You're going to flip out. Meanwhile, fundamentals, get those top 25 lists, get every single one of your recruits, call them up, drive them through the filters, top 25 lists, product, fast start school, licensing, all of that stuff. Go in the field with them, 3 field trainings, go run 10 appointments with them, and watch your numbers triple in the month of March. I can't wait to see which of you guys will be fully obsessed about this one fundamental I shared with you guys in today's video. Let's go kill in the month of March, everybody. Bye-bye.